Wake up, you ain't heard the news. Fast breaks on your screen, always making moves. Thank you for joining me here live on the Fast Break Sports Hour. Happy Veterans Day to all of you that have served or are currently serving. Thank you very much for your service. That's why we live in a free country, man. Thanks to you guys, and much deserved. Should be Veterans Day more often than just once a year. But that's a holiday, and I hope y'all had a great weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed sports over the weekend, whether it was college football, whether it was the NFL, whether it was NBA for you basketball nuts, fanatics that are already watching the NBA before Christmas, because we all know the NBA gets full force on Christmas and after Christmas. Right now, it's just an extension of the preseason. Not really. These games count, but we're not really going to get too much into where these teams stack up. But we are going to get into some small tidbits of the NBA. But we're going to start off where we're always going to start off on a Monday here in the NFL. Week 10, Sunday is over. Yes, we have one more game tonight, Monday Night Football, between the massive powers that be the New York Giants at 1-7 and the San Francisco 49ers at 2-7. The mega powers collide like back in the day with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh, yeah, brother, because that's what happened back, I believe it was 1990 or 89. Man, y'all got to get back into WWF. Go into the archives and look that up. That was a hell of a rivalry going on at that time. New York Giants, San Francisco 49ers will end the Week 10 week of the NFL season. But let's get right into last night's Sunday night football game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, who are now 4-5. The Dallas Cowboys are now 4-5. And you know, there's a little like, I told you so in my voice, more so for the Philadelphia Eagles, because I called it. And I'm going to spread the word. When I'm right with something, you guys are going to know about it. Because I'm pretty sure that once you guys start watching this show more and start subscribing and jump on this thing, like yesterday, you guys will probably attack me when I'm wrong, because I'm going to be wrong a lot. Because that's the way it is in sports. Sports is 50-50, unless there's a tie, which there have been some in the NFL this season. None lately, but it's 50-50. One team's going to win, one team's going to lose, this player's going to produce, or not. So you're going to be wrong. You know, a lot of times you're going to get things right, a lot of times you're going to get things wrong. And when I get things wrong, I'm going to, look, and I'm still going out on somewhat of a limb. When the season started, I said the Eagles are not going to make the playoffs. Not because I saw some, you know, I can't look into the future. But I just looked at everything that was happening with the Eagles and their quarterback situation and Carson Wentz, and I just felt that he wasn't going to be full force. He wasn't going to be Carson Wentz of old until maybe late in the season or going into next season. And that was going to take a toll. They were going to take their bumps. And they're 4-5 now. You look at that division, the NFC East, the Washington Redskins with a, man, it's not a nail biter, but they won 16-3 against Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay just said, here, you can have the game. Because Tampa Bay had over 500 yards of total offense, which is ridiculous. And you scored 3 points. You scored 3 points with 500 yards of offense. I don't think anybody else would ever do that. They did turn the ball over 4 times, 3 times inside the red zone. So I guess there goes your points that came along with all of those yardage, Ryan Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic no more. What up, man? How's it going, Pops? Hope you're doing good over there in Mexico. Having some good times over there working. Hi, Mother. I know you watching too. Man, that's how we do it. Much love and respect to all of you that are watching here on the Fast Break Sports Hour, whether it's live or you're watching it later. But back to the NFC East. The Washington Redskins, 6-3, pull off that dramatic win, or a boring game it really was, between the Redskins and the Buccaneers. Sorry, I'm choking over my words, because I don't even want to talk about the Redskins and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. That's what's going on. But 6-3 now, so you got to respect the record. It they they just play the games that are on the schedule, and at the end of the day, they're 6-3 after 9 games, after 10 weeks of football. And below them are the Cowboys, the Eagles, both at 4-5, and the New York foosball Giants, 1-7. Who over the weekend Odell was like, "Shoot, we can go 8-0 the second half of the season, win this division. Just like we lost 7 games in the first 8, we can win 8 in the second part of the season." Tall task. You got to show it first. You want me to believe a little bit, Odell? You got to stomp the 49ers tonight. That's going to be iffy at best. It might be a close game. Like I said, on Friday's Full Force Football Friday, I had the Niners winning by a field goal. I really didn't want to pick the game because it's just. So the Giants, can they go 8-0? No. If they go 8-0, will they win the division? Probably. But they're not going to go 8-0. That would be a hell of a story, though. First win tonight, then we'll talk about the rest of the next 7 games on your schedule. We will get to that because you brought it up. We're going to get to that. But the Dallas Cowboys, look, they did what I felt they needed to do and still didn't do enough. Good yardage. Dak Prescott, I believe he went 26 for 38 for 260 yards, or 28 for 38, 260 yards. That's good. That's a good game. Amari Cooper looking real good. 6 receptions, 76 yards. It's not impressive when you look at the stats. It's not 9 for 120. But he's really creating mismatches for the rest of the guys on that field, making things a little bit easier for Dak Prescott. Now, it wasn't looking that good in the first half for Dak Prescott. For either team at that, both teams were struggling to get anything going. But the one constant was Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott, that's the key to this team. You have to run the ball with Ezekiel Elliott. You got to find ways to get him the ball out the backfield in the passing game, like they did. He had a touchdown on the ground, had a touchdown in the air, had, I believe, 17 carries for 151 yards. I want to see that 17 turn into 22 carries. That's what we got to do, man. These are workhorses. These are badass running backs. You got to give these running backs 20 carries at a bare minimum, and the game will become a lot easier. That's how the Cowboys need to win games, and things will open up a little bit more. But you saw flashes of what the Cowboys can be when everything is working. Leighton Vander Esch, oh my goodness. Did they not hit the lottery on that linebacker that they drafted, I believe 19th overall? Man, Sean Lee's out the game. It looks like we got baby Sean Lee in there, and he's just attacking and going crazy like a Tasmanian devil. That's what you want from a middle linebacker, a leader. And they got a good one right there, and he was looking pretty damn good yesterday on Sunday Night Football. But I spoke on it last week that the Cowboys' issues, they start and end personally at the tight end position. Once they're able to create or find their next tight end, or just grow from within a tight end that's already on their roster that can be pretty good, that's when that team will start to be more consistent. Because I think that's the big key when it comes to Dak Prescott, having that safety valve with the tight end position, because Ezekiel Elliott's going to get his, whether it's on the ground, 4 or 5 catches out the air, and he actually had 6 receptions yesterday. That's a tall order. That's pretty good for what Ezekiel Elliott's used to, managing on a week in, week out basis. So a total of 23 touches. Let's move that up to 25, 26. He's a big boy. He can do it. I want to see 20 carries, 21, 22 carries, maybe 3 or 4 receptions out the backfield at a bare minimum for Ezekiel Elliott. Once they're able to figure out who their tight end is, whether it's in next year's draft, whether it's through free agency, they have to figure that out, or maybe he's on the team and they have to develop the guy, Rico Gathers, who everyone thought was going to be the next big thing just because he played basketball. Just because you play basketball doesn't mean you're going to be Antonio Gates or Tony Gonzalez. Let's stop doing that. Or Julius Thomas for that nice 3-year run he had for the Denver Broncos. So develop a tight end, and I think they'll be set because they have the line there. Now you got your receiver in Amari Cooper. Dak Prescott isn't ever going to be a top 5 quarterback. Maybe won't ever be a top 8 quarterback, but he doesn't have to be. Because as long as you keep drafting correctly on the defensive side, which they've done. I still think they need a little bit of help in the secondary, but you got your linebackers, you got your pass rushers, you're looking good for the Dallas Cowboys. And now they have to build off of this. Now, yeah, they beat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Either way, it's a big win. I don't care how good or how bad the Eagles are. It's tough to play there. Sunday Night Football, prime time, and they were able to pull it off, so you got to give them credit for that. But now can they build off of that? Can they build off of that and try to catch the Washington Redskins? Because let's just look at the schedule for these 4 teams. We're going to throw the Giants in there because Odell says they're going to go 8-0. So let's look at it and see. Because 9-7 is probably going to win you the division. I don't see the Redskins continuing 6-3 and in 11-5. That's not going to happen. 10-6, maybe. But if you look at the schedule, and I'm going to run it down here in a second, let's start off with the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins, and I'm just going to go through their next 5 weeks because, I don't want to go through all 7. The next 5, and you tell me where you see some easy games for the Redskins. Next week, against the Texans, a team that hasn't lost in 6 weeks. That team is building momentum. And the Redskins haven't been too good at home. So there's that game. Texans next week. Right after that, they go to Dallas. So this is Thanksgiving. Man, shoot. That's a good matchup on Thanksgiving. You might, if the Redskins cannot pull off that victory at home, they're going to be 6-4 now. And depending on who the Cowboys play next week, which I'll get to here in a little bit, it's going to be a good matchup. It might be for first place on Thanksgiving, but they have that game is always going to be a tough game. Then the week after that, they're going to have 4 extra days off. They go to Philly. This is the Redskins. You can easily see 3 losses there. And then the game after that, the Giants, you got to give it to the Redskins just how the Giants have been playing just all season. There's nothing for me to say, hey, it's going to be a tough game, but it's a division game. It's probably going to be a 1-possession game. That's what happens. It doesn't matter who's good or who's bad. They got the Giants there. Then they got at Jacksonville. Jacksonville took a couple steps back this year. Very disappointing Jacksonville Jaguars team, but it's still going to be at Jacksonville. You have to wonder what kind of, what's going to be bleeding out the Jacksonville Jaguars' heart 5 weeks from now. After that, they lost a big game yesterday to the Colts. That was the game to kind of get them back into the swing of things. And now the Colts, are in that mix of not just the division, but wild card or whatnot. So that's for the Redskins. You can say, hey, man, you can give them 2 wins, 2-3. What is at 6-3? Now they're 8-6 after that. So anybody's ball game at that point. The Dallas Cowboys at the Falcons next week. Falcons need a win. Falcons just choked one away against the Cleveland Browns. So there you got 2 4-5 teams. This is going to be basically one of those elimination games. If Dallas loses this, I believe it's going to be a tough task to come back from 4-6, even within the division, unless they're able to pull off. I don't know, man. It's just that division is just. I will be surprised if the Redskins end up 11-5, 10-6, maybe. But even if you say 10-6, that would mean the Cowboys would have to win their last 6 if they're not able to beat the Falcons. Something that Odell Beckham is saying the Giants can do. Now, before we get to the Giants schedule, let's get to the Eagles schedule now. Or let me finish off Dallas. I mentioned Washington Thanksgiving, and then they got the Saints at home, best team in the NFC. Then they play Philadelphia again. Again, that's going to be a close game. Then they go to Indy. So those are the next 5 games for the Cowboys. These are all toss-ups. And that's the way it is when you got teams that are average. The Philadelphia Eagles, they got the Saints next week. It's do or die for them as well. Again, man, I said that the Eagles were not going to make the playoffs this year. And I took a big, giant leap of faith because they're the defending champions. It takes some stones to say something like that. And I said that. The Eagles would not make the playoffs. So, man, hey, they got the Saints next week. It's do or die for the Eagles. I think the Saints are going to crush them because that's what the Saints do. They crush everybody now. They don't realize they're the best team in the NFC. Let's be real with it. Let's be real with it. The New Orleans Saints are the best team in the NFC. It's not even close. You look at the Rams yesterday. Rams have issues stopping the run. Defensively, you can't tell me that once Aqib Talib comes back, it's going to make that much of a difference. They can't stop the run. They gave up 200 plus yards to the Seahawks for the second time this season. They give up yards on the ground. and they're giving up points. And it's not a big deal. They're able to score 35, 40 points. But it's going to be a big deal when you got to play teams like the Chiefs, when you got to play teams like the Saints, which will more than likely happen in the playoffs. And even the Panthers, man. I like the Panthers against the Rams. Shoot, put them together in the playoffs. I guarantee you the Panthers will beat the Rams. Rams are flashy. I like it. But defensively, with all that star power, it's not working. They're able to, against the pass, and they're able to rush the passer. I'll give them that. But just everything else, they're not good at it. Offensively, they're incredible, and they're going to have to depend on that. They're going to have to put up 42 points against the Chiefs, put up 42 points against a team like the New Orleans Saints, who, again, is the best team in the NFC. And then back to the Philly schedule. They got the Giants. They already walked over them the first time. There's no reason why they wouldn't do it again. They got the Redskins at home. I'm going to give it to Philly still. Then they go to Dallas. That's going to be a tough one. Then they go to the Rams. Another tough one. So, again, you look at that schedule, there's at least 2 losses there. At least 2 losses in the next 5 games. So let's say they pull off a 3-2 in the next 5. You're looking at 7-7. So man, Redskins sit somewhat pretty. Redskins just got to take care of business at home, and it starts next week against the Texans. Redskins, you beat the Texans next week, I will have you in after next week. If you can beat the Texans, you can't beat the Texans, and it's going to be a coin flip. Now, again, Odell Beckham over the weekend, I don't know if it was Friday, Saturday, he was talking about, hey, we're 1-7. Season's not over. We can go 8-0. So I'm like, okay, let me look at the schedule. Obviously, none of this matters if you're not able to beat the San Francisco 49ers tonight, Monday Night Football, here in a couple hours. Tune in if you want, because it's, again, these teams combined for 3 wins and 14 losses. This was like the Thursday night game a couple weeks ago between the 49ers and the Raiders. See the constant there? The 49ers just keep showing up on prime time. What's up with that, man? And I understand they did it because they thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be a part of this team from the get. They didn't foresee this injury. And believe me, if Jimmy G's on this team, you're not looking at a 2-7 San Francisco 49er team. Maybe more so 4-5, maybe 5-4. That's more like a San Francisco 49er team. They wouldn't have lost to the Cardinals twice with Jimmy G. I guarantee you that. Cardinals only 2 wins of the season. So let's look at the Giants' last 8 games. The 8 games that Odell says they have a chance at winning. Starts tonight against the 49ers. Show me something. Next week, Buccaneers at home. I'll give you that. I'll give you the Buccaneers at home. That's 2 wins, right? If you're able to take care of business tonight. You're 3-7. You're riding high. You're probably 3 games out of first place because of how the division is taking form with, 7 games to go. Man, you probably looking kind of hyped there. 7 games to go, 2 games out. You got this adrenaline going, man. We back up in the race. Man, we about to take this juice. Oh, my goodness. But then you got to go to Philly. That's where your season ends. Unless you're able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, or you taking this momentum and you turning this into some special stuff where Saquon Barkley is unstoppable. Eli Manning is able to throw the ball and not get sacked after a second because that offensive line can't block anybody. And what's up with that? The Giants got Will Hernandez in the draft. They got Nate Solder in free agency, put up some big money, and they can't block anybody. Every time Eli Manning's back to pass, there's always somebody in his lap. Every single time. Give him a little bit of time, see what happens. They got weapons. I'm not even going to sneeze at their weapons. Evan Ingram at tight end. That's a badass tight end. I already mentioned Saquon Barkley. Top 10 running back right now. Then you got Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard. So they got some weaponry, but they just can't block up front. It just goes to show you how important the offensive line is. And their defense is in shambles. I mean, they basically quit on their defense when they gave up Eli Apple and Snacks Harrison. They traded those 2 guys before the trade deadline. So, or maybe they just felt like they weren't getting the outcome they wanted from these 2 players. And they were also getting paid pretty good chunk of change. So maybe they saw something better on the bench in their depth, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with the Giants. Again, you have to win tonight for any of this to take form. I'll give you the Buccaneers next week if you can win tonight, but then you go to Philly. That's going to take some special stuff unless the Eagles just unravel. Unless the Eagles, after they lose to the Saints next week, say, you know what, man, we gotta redo this at 4-6. Which again, you're not gonna make the playoffs. Eagles, even if you pull off a miracle, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna beat the Saints. You're not. Don't. It's football, but you're not gonna beat the Saints. The Eagles will not beat the Saints. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it. The universe is listening. You're not gonna beat the Saints. But so the Eagles, unless something just they're just like, you know what, let's give up. I don't know. I'm doubting that. Maybe the Giants do have a chance. And then after that, you got the Bears. Where are the Bears going to be in 3 weeks? Bears got a big game next Sunday night against the Vikings. So there's that. The Bears are, to me, are still a year early to the dance. I didn't think they were going to be in this position until next year, but they're here. They're like, we're ready. We're ready to go. Mitchell Trubisky's doing just what he has to do to get things going. He's putting up some numbers. And you got his weapons on the outside with Robinson, with Miller. Taylor Gabriel didn't get no action yesterday, but that's another guy. Trey Burton. So it works. And their defense really works. Causing turnovers, getting no sacks. Now, I mean, they gave up 22 points at the end of the game there to the Detroit Lions. But when you're up and you're shutting the team out, I mean, you get bored. So things like that happen. But that's Chicago Bears for you. Then the week after that, they go to Washington again. That's a toss-up game. Then they got Tennessee at home. What is Tennessee going to look like at then? Because right now they're looking like world killers. And we're going to get to that here in a second. Then you finish off at Indy, at Dallas. That takes that. You're going to need a lot of magic, New York. Let's not even talk about that no more. Win tonight, and then we'll see what happens. Win tonight, and I'll give you next week. And let's see what you look like at 3-7 if all of that comes into fruition. Because if the Redskins lose next week, and they're 6-4, and you winning these next two makes you 3-7, might change things a little bit. Because no, we're not going there. I'm not gonna do what Odell. They're not gonna go 8-0. Just win tonight. See what happens tonight. New York Giants at the San Francisco 49ers. They were talking about maybe having to move the game to a different date or a different location due to all the fires going on in California. The air, it just isn't that great, obviously. And you pray for the people out there. Make sure everybody's safe. You feel for the people losing their homes or whatnot. So let's hope this is fixed soon. And yeah, all you can do is just hope for the best for the people down there. But they were talking about moving the game. Haven't heard anything recently. They still had it up in the air this morning. Pretty sure if they haven't changed nothing else, probably still going to be ready to go for that 6:15 start Mountain local time, 8:15 Eastern time, 7:15 Central. And for you Pacific people, which I'm not in the Pacific no more, I'm still in Arizona, but we're not Pacific anymore. That's California and all them people on that side. 5:15 for y'all. So we'll see what happens. Pretty sure the game's still going to go on. New York Giants, San Francisco 49ers. Patriots, man, and the Titans. I wanted to pick this so bad as my upset special, but I was like, I don't trust the Titans. I think that they're a fluky team. They'll show you some things. And it wasn't a fluke. What they did against the Dallas Cowboys last Monday was incredible. They dominated the Cowboys last Monday night. But I just thought it was one of those things where the Titans just, out of nowhere, they do things like this. And then the next week they throw up a dud. I was so certain that the Patriots were going to win fairly easy. I believe I had predicted them beating the Titans 27-17, something like that. Tennessee Titans dominated this game from beginning to end. It was never a doubt. And you saw Corey Davis, man, show up, show out. They've been waiting for him to do something. Their young, talented wide receiver. Marcus Mariota is looking a little bit more comfortable in this offense. And in the run game, Derrick Henry, though he still needs to pick it up a little bit when it comes to his run per average, he was able to get into the end zone a couple times. So the Tennessee Titans, man, they looking fierce right now. That's not a team you want to play at this point. They're still that team that's going to hit you in the mouth. They play rough. They play that slow style, but they're still going to put up, 24, 27 points. In the last 2 weeks, they've put up 28 and 34. So that's a combination. That's lethal. When you're able to play defense the way they have, hold the Patriots to 10 points, shoot. I don't care if the Patriots have an off day or if they just weren't ready. You hold the Patriots to 10 points. That's an accomplishment in itself. So the Tennessee Titans, man, they showed up, they showed out, they balled out yesterday against the Patriots. But here, listen, New England Patriots, don't worry about it. It's just one of them, I like to call a hiccup. Just like I said last week, the Patriots can easily be 13-3, 14-2. This is that one loss. They had won 6 in a row. It's going to happen. You have everything against you when you look at the Tennessee Titans and Mike Vrabel going against his head coach or former head coach. You got Deion Lewis. You got Malcolm Butler. You got Logan Ryan. You have a lot of players that came from that team, and this was like the Titans' mini Super Bowl for the coach and for a lot of those players on that team. And give them credit because they dominated the New England Patriots. The Patriots were not. I want to give the Titans credit, but that's not the New England Patriots. What you saw yesterday, that's not the real New England Patriots. Again, it's a hiccup. I'm not going to spend too much time on worrying about if the Patriots are falling apart. They're 7-3. Let's be real with it. Now, it knocked them off of the top 2 spots in the AFC because you got the Chiefs who struggle against the Cardinals, but they're just bored. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, who dominated the Panthers, those are now your number 1 and 2 teams in the NFL when you look at seeding. But you look at losses, now the Patriots are behind the Chargers in losses as well. So that's 3 teams they're behind. But when it comes down to it, who do you have more faith in these last 7-8 games of the season? 7-3. The New England Patriots 7-3, who are on a bye next week. So it probably has to do something with that where it's like, man, we got to bye. We're going, we need our rest. They probably took their bye during halftime of the Tennessee Titans game, and that's what ended up happening. Shoot. They're ready to check out. It's like most of y'all, when y'all work Monday through Friday, and y'all get to Friday, and you're like, man, this is Friday, it's payday. Most of y'all mentally, y'all check out like at 11 a.m. Be real. I'm being real with y'all. Y'all be real with me because I done been there. I'm still there, where it's like, man, it's payday. I get 2 days off. I'm going to just try to glide through the weekend. I'm not going to put in the full effort that I would have had it been a Wednesday. On Wednesday, you go hard. You're like, man, this is my week. I'm working hard. I'm making my money. By the time you get Friday about 10 a.m., you're like, all right, man, let's go. Man, let's hurry up. Let's just finish what we had to finish, just barely, whatever. Hey, man, let's just make it to 3, 4, or 5 p.m., whatever time it is you check out or you do graveyard. Let's get to the weekend. Now, I hope y'all ain't living like that. I hope you guys treat every day like the best day of your life. But that's a different story for a different day. That's what the Patriots did. The Patriots were like, man, 7-3 going into the bye. That's pretty good, man, because we were 1-2 after 3 weeks. If you tell us after week 3 that we're going to be 7-3 at the bye, we'll take that cha-ching. And that's what they did. So don't worry about the Patriots, please. And they're on a bye week. Man, the mad scientist Bill Belichick's already like, man, just wait till our next opponent. We're about to beat our next opponent by 4 touchdowns. That's what the Patriots do. So don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. Patriots still going to be in the AFC Championship game one way or another. Maybe. We'll see. But good job by the Tennessee Titans dominating the Patriots. And I'm not saying that lightly. That's exactly what it was. And in another dominating game performance, Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, no Dez Bryant. But it's like he was out there at heart because every time they scored, they was putting up the X for Dez Bryant, showing him support, showing him so much support that they've already replaced him by signing Brandon Marshall today. Hopefully Brandon Marshall makes it through the week, or else that's a bad omen. If something happens to Brandon Marshall, I'm pretty sure there ain't gonna be no receiver that's gonna want to sign with the New Orleans Saints if anything happens to Brandon Marshall. Shoot, be like, nah, maybe we shouldn't be signing with that team. I'll stay working at the grocery store. I don't want to sign a contract with y'all because there's something going on there. But in all reality, in all seriousness, Brandon Marshall now on the team. To me, that's a good possession receiver. As long as he's got his head on straight and worried about football and not worried about where he's going to make his next show. You know what I'm saying? If they can get Brandon Marshall, who's willing to pick up first downs on 3rd and 7, that Brandon Marshall, that's pretty good because I think that's what they lack. He's basically like a faster tight end. That's what you're going to get with Brandon Marshall. So if they get good Brandon Marshall, that's just going to add to the cupboard. I mean, it's incredible what the Saints have offensively. Defensively, man, they create turnovers. They're fast on defense, and they showed it to the Cincinnati Bengals. I had the New Orleans Saints winning this game by 2 scores, but they won by 80 scores, man. 51-14. That was total domination. The Bengals, who sit in the second wild card spot at 5-4, man, you got fans like me who I go for the Broncos. They're 3-6. I'm like, man, I'm 3-6. The Bengals are 5-4. We're only 2 games behind them, and we play them. You make me want to watch football now. I'm excited, man. I was like, man, 3-6. Broncos, dude, like, what's gonna happen? But now the Bengals are like, they're the team that holds the second wild card. Hey, man, anything for me to be excited next week, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm excited now, and we play that team. Shoot, watch us beat the Chargers next week. See what happens. Yeah, I know you want to laugh at me, but hey, watch us beat the Chargers. Every time the Broncos go to Los Angeles, and I'm getting off course here, but every time the Denver Broncos go to Los Angeles, it's a home game, or San Diego, whatever you want to call it. Well, that stadium has more Bronco fans. It's easier to beat the Chargers there than it is at home. I know this because that's just the way it works. It's the way it works, man. You're going when you on a road, you're like, man, we gotta go out there. We got no distractions, and the Chargers are like, man, we just want somebody to cheer for us, So giving me a little bit. So what I'm trying to say is, for those of you that whether you go for the Broncos, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Indianapolis Colts, man, who else is down there? The Ravens. You're like, man, we only got to get to them to be the second wild card. The Miami Dolphins. Shoot. We only got to get to them. The Tennessee Titans, who are now 5-4. Tied with the Bengals, but the Bengals got a tiebreaker. So throw that in there. Looking good, man. It makes next week's football, if you got 3 wins in the AFC, it makes it that important. It makes it important. I'm gonna be real with y'all. That it's man, you wake up with it like you're excited again. Until your team loses, then it's back to the drawing board, and you're like, okay, what pick are we gonna get? So New Orleans Saints, man, they whooped up on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, if that's bad, that's horrible. That's a Charles Barkley term where he's like, that's terrible. That's not right, man. What the Bengals did at home, and what they end up doing is firing their defensive coordinator. What you guys need to do is fire Marvin Lewis. Should have been fired like 6 years ago. He's never won a playoff game, and he's been there like 29 years. I'm exaggerating, but I don't get it. I was jokingly stating, in the off season on one of my shows that Marvin Lewis must have some inside information, or he has something in his back pocket that he knows about the owner or something. And he's like, you can't fire me or else I'm going to put this out there. It's something. Because how does he continue to be the coach for the Bengals? So now they fired the defense coordinator. What's going to happen next week? You're going to fire the special teams coach. Then the week after that, they're going to fire the offense coordinator. Then the week after that, they're going to, punish the water boy. The guy that tapes up the ankles. Marvin Lewis sitting pretty, man. Shoot. That's the job to have, where you're not expected to do anything but go 8-8. If you go 8-8, man, you're here forever. Forever, man. This is your job. That's like being an average worker. I'm bringing up work again. I don't know why, but that's like being an average worker, but being the highest paid average worker in the world. And all you got to do is wake up, take a shower, brush your teeth, when whatever order you do it, get to work on time sometimes, and just be there. And you're the highest paid dude. Like, man, that's Marvin Lewis. Obviously, he knows a lot of football, but it's just not working, man. I don't know what's going on there, but they got beat down. The Bengals are now 5-4, hold that last spot in the AFC. Got a lot of us fans that have worse teams a little bit happy, man. Make us excited for this week. It's not just fantasy football that gets us excited. Our team has a chance. The game matters again for one more week. And that's all that matters, man. Just get us to Sunday. Get us to Sunday and we'll be excited. See what happens with anything. Anything is possible. That's what Kevin Garnett said. Anything is possible. That's real. I mentioned the Chiefs and the Cardinals game. That's another thing. Don't read into it. I mentioned this and I keep going back. I keep saying I was talking about it. But hey, man, I was right. I said the Chiefs were going to start off slow against the Cardinals because they're bored. They're just expected to dominate the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going into like, this is our Super Bowl. We got to make sure we don't get our asses kicked. 26-14 is still like, eh. But that's a victory. That's a moral victory for the Cardinals. When you are a 17-point underdog and you can cover, that's against supposedly the best team in the AFC. What? Oh, man. Domino's call me? Shoot. Man. What's up? Oh, man. Well, let's see what happens. They probably want me to go into work, but let me finish this off, man. Hey, man, I got to make money, man. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm going to pretend like I didn't read that right quick. I called him back, man. 15 minutes ain't going to be that much of a difference. Y'all wait. So, yeah, don't make a big deal about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs barely beating. They're the best team in the AFC. Again, because I had the Patriots there. But when you lose, like way you lose, the Chiefs go back on top. Don't worry about that. The Chiefs are still going to be 13-3 at the end of the year. Big game next week. What's up, mother? Again, throwing up the peace sign, giving me a heads up. Like, yo, man, your job calling you to come in early. I do it, but not right now. I'm scheduled at 4:30 just to give y'all an update. I'm scheduled at 4:30. It is 3:13. So if I can finish the show by 3:30, man, I went in an hour earlier. Shoot, that's what I'm talking about. I'm a team player. But you got to bend a little bit. You want me to come in, you give me 20 minutes to get ready. It only takes me like 3 minutes, but still give me 20 minutes. Let's be real with it. Oh, man, losing my train of thought here. But yeah, Chiefs, next week against the Los Angeles Rams. Monday Night Football. Fútbol el lunes en el México Grande Estadio. No sé si van a jugar en el Estadio Azteca, pero van a jugar en México. I'm trying to figure out how they say the teams in Spanish, because I've heard it before. Los Acereros. No, those are the Steelers. Los Chivas, Los Cuernudos. The Rams from Los Angeles are going to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Y va a haber un juego bien espectacular en el lunes fútbol noche por la noche con dos quarterback, dos mariscales de... That's what they called him, man. But Monday Night Football, Mexico City, that's a hell of a game. They got freaking lucky, man. They got the Rams and the Chiefs. You got 2 8-1 teams. I believe the Chiefs are 9-1 now. Something like that. Yeah. 2 teams that got 1 loss at this point. Holy moly, this is going to be 48-45, something like that. 2 teams that cannot play defense. And watch, these teams can't play defense, but it's going to end up being like 20-17. Don't do that to us. We don't want to see that. Y'all got to score more than 30 points. But that's a whole different story. I got to wrap this up because I like money. Let's see here. The Bears, man, I got to give you props. You beat the Lions 34-22. That's a hell of a game. There you go. La carnicería contra los jefes. Yeah, the meat market going against the bosses. That's not it, but it's the Rams and the Chiefs, man. The meat eaters, the carneros. That's what that is. I'm pretending like I don't know Spanish so y'all feel better. I know a lot of freaking Spanish. Shoot, that was the first language I learned, baby. Yes. So, yeah. NBA. Well, no, let's not get to the NBA. Forget the NBA. We'll talk about the NBA tomorrow. I don't really care about the NBA right now. But shoot, what are we gonna talk? Man, I already talked about Cleveland and the Falcons. That was Falcons. I thought you was on some new level. You went into Washington last week, first place Washington, and dominated the Redskins. So I'm like, man, the Falcons are back. No pitchfork for them. Then you go to Cleveland, and you're not even putting up a game. You got your butts kicked by Baker Mayfield and Chubb, Nick Chubb. Man, that dude looking ridiculous. When you have a name like Chubb, I'm not even gonna get into that. But yeah, the Browns, man, 3-5-1. That's already a victory for them, man. A team that in the last 2 years has only won one game. You tripled that, and you're barely over the halfway mark. Dude, congratulations, man. Good job. That's what I'm talking about. Good job, Browns. You done exceeded all expectations. You know, I had you going 6-10, 3-5-1. You about there. You about, hey man, you might be 6-9-1. Shoot, that's exceeding my expectations. And I like to make things higher for teams, unless you're the Eagles. I like to put the expectations a little bit higher than what they actually are, but Browns, man, they got that victory against the Falcons. Falcons looking very disappointing. The Atlanta Falcons again next week got the Cowboys. 2 4-5 teams that are playing average, but probably should be a little bit better, especially on the Falcons side. That game's in Atlanta, so that's going to be a good one to watch. Man, let's revisit something real quick, and I'm gonna keep revisiting this. My Super Bowl prediction was the New Orleans Saints over the Los Angeles Chargers. Things are looking good, man. Tap myself on the back. I know I'm doing a good job. I'm working hard to figuring out, which teams are good and which teams are going to get there. Never mind the teams that I picked to get to the playoffs. My tone's a little bit lower right now because I'm trying to be serious with y'all. Don't worry about the other teams I picked to go to the playoffs, like the Lions and the Broncos. That doesn't matter. That does not matter. All right? What matters is the Super Bowl teams that I picked. In my preseason MVP, Phillip Rivers. Isn't that looking nice? I know Patrick Mahomes is going to mess up my parade here a little bit. But Phillip Rivers, man, he's doing it. Hopefully he doesn't do it next week against the Denver Broncos. He doesn't need this game. Phillip, you're not going to catch the Kansas City Chiefs, so give us a game. Give the Denver Broncos a chance next week. Let's make the division a little bit more interesting. You're gonna be in the playoffs. Why not have 3 AFC West teams get in? We can do that. So that's all I got to say. Is I'm on point with that. But what a day in the NFL, and that's like that every Sunday. Aaron Rodgers gets a big win. They dominated the Dolphins, 31-12. It probably should have been worse than that. Dolphins are 5-5. They're I don't like saying this because I love Javi and he loves the Dolphins, but they are the worst 5-5 team I've ever seen in my life. That's being real with it. And I'm done with being serious. Let's get to the NBA real quick. Where LeBron James, dude, man, shoot. You missed 2 free throws again at the end of the game. Luckily, you get a rebound on the next shot and dunk it. And Tyson Chandler blocks it looked like goaltending, but blocks the game-winning shot for the Atlanta Hawks, and you end up getting a win. But you cannot be missing 2 free throws when you're down by 1 point, man. With like 10 seconds left, you can't do that. I always stick up for you, man. It has nothing to do with you being a bad free throw shooter. You just don't have it in you mentally to make free throws when they count. So I'm not going to take this making excuses saying, well, he's just not that good of a free throw shooter. No, he's just not that good of a shooter at the end of games, which is why a lot of times he doesn't take shots at the end of games when he feels like someone else can have a better chance. That's his excuse. I'm attacking you with it now. If I think you're the best basketball player ever, you have to make those free throws, man. You missed both of them. You redeemed yourself because you're LeBron James and you dunked a missed attempt on your missed free throw. Awesome, because you're a beast. You can do that. But you have to make those free throws, dude. Come on. You only had to make one. And maybe you missed them on purpose because you wanted to get that dunk in to make it look crazier. I see you. Hey, maybe that's what you did. And I'm gonna back you to the end, man, because I can't sit back here and say you're not. You the greatest basketball player I'd have never seen. Make your free throws when they count. I don't care if you go 0 for 8, man, in free throws during the game. I don't care if this year you're a 54% free throw shooter. But you make sure that when the free throws count and it's a single possession game, you're making them. That's all that matters. Work on that. Do something, man. Do some sort of challenge. You know, when you're in practice or something, say, all right, I got 2 free throws. If I miss one, shame on me. You know, put something on. Make it where you got pressure. You got learned, man. You done been in the NBA long enough to know what pressure's like. You know that already, LeBron, and I know you're never going to hear me. Well, not never, but right now you're probably not going to hear this. But I know you're going to hear me someday. I don't care. We're going to cross paths, bro. I feel it. But either way, you have to make free throws when they count, man. You're not Shaq. You can't use that excuse. Shaq sucked at free throws. And sometimes he would make them at the end of games because he knew he had to dig down deep and make the free throws for his team. I consider you the greatest of all time. Make your freaking free throws when they matter. That's it, man. You're above 500. Lakers above 500. Finally. It's early on. Again, we're not going to worry about that. And Jimmy Butler got traded to the 76ers. Finally, the Timberwolves, they got nothing in return, but they had to get rid of him because it was not going to work out. Timberwolves needed a fresh start with the players they already have, the young talent they have. Jimmy Butler gets traded to the Sixers. Now the Sixers got 3 All-Stars. Man, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler. They're the favorite to be in the finals now. I don't care about the Celtics. Celtics are struggling. They're still going to be in the. I had the Celtics go to the finals, all right, but I didn't see Jimmy Butler get traded to the Sixers, so I got to give it to the Sixers right now. I haven't even seen them play, so I'm not like jumping. I'm not saying, oh, they're incredible. I'm just, it's just gonna happen, you know. So man, I like the Sixers. It's gonna be great for the NBA. Yeah, they're stacked. They got another star, but that's what you gotta do now. You gotta do that. That's part of the way the NBA works. And other than that, man, I mean, you got the Raptors, the Bucks up there. The Raptors are tearing things up. But you know what the Raptors do? Raptors are going to have the best record in the East. Then they'll lose in the second round. They'll get swept by somebody. But I don't know. Maybe Kawhi Leonard's totally different. If Kawhi Leonard can get his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, he should be the MVP. Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, the Greek freak. He got some stars in the East, man. Then in the West, you got the Warriors and the Nuggets doing things. The Blazers, I don't know, I like the Blazers, but they're up there. I don't like the Blazers, though. They're just going to get dominated in the playoffs because all they got is 2 guards. That's it. They got some depth in other places, but when you look at their stars, it's just the guards. Anybody can stop 2 guards. Look at the Washington Wizards. All they got is 2 guards, and they suck this year when I thought they were going to be like a 5 seed like every single year, but they're sucking this year. But same old story. Golden State Warriors, best team in basketball from beginning to end. Unless the East does something crazy. Let me see it, man. I've seen crazier things. And on that note, guys, watch Monday Night Football tonight. I'm going to be watching because of my fantasy football stuff. I got me on edge, man. I have to win. And I'm not going to mention what has to happen because it's just whatever. But I got to go to work because they're calling me because they depend on this. When a superhero is called upon, you know, you finish your show or you whatever you're doing and then you go, you know, unless it's a real emergency. But man, you're always calling people you trust, man. Fast Break Sports Hour. Thank you for watching me. I'm out. Check me out tomorrow, Wednesday. One of the days, I'll be back and we're going to talk about more football, more basketball, maybe a little bit of college football, man. See what's marinating. Thank you for joining me here on the Fast Break Sports Hour. Love y'all. Love yourself. Do you. Do whatever it is your heart tells you to do, man, because you can do it. There's a reason why. It's blah, 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 blah. I'm out.